Southern men, the thunders mutter, northern flags and south winds flutter. To arms, to arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Send them back your fierce defiance, stamp upon the cursed alliance. To arms, to arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie, hurrah, hurrah. For Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, to arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. Fear no danger, shun no labor, lift up rifle, pike, and saber. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Shoulder pressing close to shoulder, let the odds make each heart bolder. To arms, to arms, to arms, in Dixie. Advance the flag of Dixie, hurrah, hurrah. For Dixie's land we take our stand and live or die for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie. To arms, and conquer peace for Dixie.
Hello, everybody. We'll start in a minute. So that is I can't find like a decent version of it that's not from an anime. That's Tokyo Bushi, which the Japanese adopted a lot of when the Japanese were westernizing. They adopted a lot of American and British marching songs with Japanese lyrics, obviously. Marching Through Georgia is one they adopted, and they sung it when they were marching into Port Arthur. I'm going to turn my AC on. I'm sorry if it's loud, but it's really hot and I need it, so whatever. So we're going to be playing as the American Union State. So I'm going to tell you now, I use cheats when I play HOI 2. I play the game on normal difficulty, but I do use cheats for things like political power, because I think the political power system's retarded, and just a lot of things don't work particularly well in Paradox games. So I might have to cheat, and there's going to be reloads, because the Civil War is like insane. Uh, in terms of it's very, very luck based. And I don't just say that because I suck at this game. So let's see here. So we're playing as the United States of America, and I'm going to be cheesing the hell out of this because, in my opinion, the hardest faction to play as in the Second Civil War is probably the American Union State. The easiest, I'd say, is the CSA, followed by the Federals. The PSA, or the Pacific States, normally almost always get wiped out, but they normally die last. It also depends on the Entente. So there's like a lot of different stuff that will determine whether or not I win or how well I do. So I did 3 run-throughs of the game just so like I wouldn't completely fail. Because I've played as the I normally play as the CSA when I do this playthrough. So I've tried. So the first time I tried it, I got my ass kicked because the Entente declared war on me, and Mexico got taken over by Cardens, I think it is, and they invaded, and I got just butt raped. We'll talk about the broken nature of naval invasions. I tried a second time and I did better a second time. And the second time I tried it, I got raped again by naval invasions. So we'll see. Basically, the AI, and I think this is known, doesn't have to have a check for naval superiority for naval invasions. So the AI can theoretically invade any naval invade any province at any range at any time, regardless. So like, there's been scenarios where we'll have like a dozen carriers patrolling the coast, and I've destroyed their entire fleet, and then they'll go and just annihilate all of just hit every single city at once. So we're going to cheese the crap out of this. So we're going to start off by building some civilian factories in the south. I've never seen the American Union State win. I find probably about 60% of the time the CSA wins, and like 50%, and the remainder the Federals win. Actually, something that I found really helpful is forts. So I'm going to be building forts too as we do this. Because there's no reason to push on certain fronts. Like, there's absolutely no reason to push on the Western Front towards the PSA. Kind of one of the critical things to keep in mind when we're doing the Second American Civil War is a lot of the states are strategically worthless. Because areas like the western states don't have population, industry, or really that much in the way of resources. So there's not really a point in pushing there, like, at all. You're just gonna get bogged down in mountain combat. So let's see here. So what I tend to do is I just fortify this area and just try to hold it. The war's normally decided on the east coast. Okay, I'm gonna read the events if that's okay. In 1936, the United States of America is gripped by unrelenting crisis. Although able to avoid the horrors of the Weltkrieg, which allowed its prosperity to continue well into the 1920s, German victory in the Weltkrieg, followed by the French and British revolutions, led to the Wall Street crash of 1925. This sent the United States spiraling into the Great Depression and allowed the Berlin stock market to take its place at the forefront of the world economy. The election of Herbert Hoover in 1928, while initially promising, failed entirely to reverse the decline of the American economy, and by 1936, the country had spent over a decade in the midst of the worst financial crisis it had ever seen. This fueled the rise of radical parties in America, from the far left Socialist Party to the far right America First Party. I don't know if I'd call America First far right. I'd say it's definitely third positionist. I'd probably call it Christian socialist. Fascist would probably describe it, although Huey Long is actually pretty moderate in this mod. Like, his actual policies, like, I think as Huey Long, you dismantle the KKK, for instance. Hoover's continuous re-election by means of the House of Representatives in 1932 and the ongoing Great Depression means that these problems are unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. Many throughout the country fear that the upheaval would result should one of the extreme parties come to power or should the depression continue unabated. So, something to keep in mind when we're talking about presidential elections, if no one gets a majority, then the House of Representatives picks the president. Someone in the chat can maybe put it, but that's happened a couple times. There's a couple leaders, maybe someone, I think it was Blaine, or maybe it was Henry Clay. I can't remember, but there was a couple people who ran on a platform of basically they knew they weren't going to win, but they had a lot of support among the House of Representatives, so they needed to get into the top 3 so then they could be selected. Okay, so let's see here. So, because I'm gaming this, I don't really see any reason... Oops, I forgot to turn off technology. I don't really see any reason to research any relevant military technology. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to research naval technology, because I'll want to rebuild the Navy once I win. But I don't really see a point, because the various successor factions are going to get the United States' technology. I'm not really sure how the... Oh, someone points out, yeah, Andrew Jackson had a plurality, but Congress chose someone else. Right, but Congress chose John Quincy Adams. Let's see here. With assurances made by President Hoover that, unlike in 1932, this time he would not veto the bill, Democratic Senator Robert Wagner and Speaker of the House John Nance Gardner have reintroduced their unemployment relief legislation package. Many in Congress feel that the package does not go nearly far enough, while others wonder how America, in the midst of a massive economic crisis, will possibly pay for it. The presence of senators from AFP and SPA also complicates things immensely. Even with Hoover's pledge, it's unknown if the Gardner-Wagner Act has a real chance of passing. My problem with the KKK is I think they're kind of like, I don't know if Gnostic's the right term, but they are kind of a cult. Okay. So I have a couple mods installed that I just tend to use. I have one that removes unit limits. So it allows army sizes. You can put any number of units in an army. So up to 100, 240, because that's something I hated in the base game. I have the resource development mods. So for a certain amount of political power and civilian factories, you can develop your own resources. I have the faster construction for player mod because personally I find construction just takes too long. And I also have the continuous focus mod, which dramatically improves continuous focus, and that's for everybody. So I mean, the thing to keep in mind is, like, from my understanding, the two KKs. Okay, my other issue is, and something I think is broken in this game, is the, what is it again? Not the naval, that's not what I'm thinking about. The amount of steel in the game. Like, the amount of steel it takes to build ships is frankly, like, ridiculous. So, even if you, like, after I win the war, um, after you win the war, to build a new U.S. fleet is, in my view, almost impossible. Because, like, as the U.S., when I was trying to build, like, 10 carriers and, like, 10 cruisers and 10 destroyers, I literally, even trading with every country on Earth and maxing out infrastructure in every province, I could not produce enough steel to meet that. Does John Mark and Kurt Doolittle represent the honey? Okay. As expected, the early challenges to the Gardner-Wagner bill have come from the AFP and SPA. Let's see, I'm just going to skip. I'll read these if they're interesting. That's not that interesting. The ships take too long to build. I know in real life, battleships took years to build, and I know that's, like, being realistic, but in practice, it's not very, like, fun. Take a sip. My navy is generally speaking called, well, Catholics aren't allowed to take part in secret societies anyways. Oh no, it's not Gnostic, it's Masonic. It really reminds me of, like, a Freemason thing, to be honest, thinking about the KKK. Just the way it's structured, the secret rites, the passwords, all that kind of stuff. I think the purpose of the first KKK, I think, was, it was to serve as, like, a militia, because in the aftermath of the Civil War, all white Southern males, or at least most of them, lost citizenship. So blacks could vote in the South, and carpetbaggers or Northerners. Northerners and let me see how many carriers the U.S. built during World War II. Okay, the U.S. built 48 carriers during World War II. So, yeah. So take that, I guess. Okay, senators break ranks. I'm going to force a compromise with America first. Sorry, so where was I? Yeah, so the KKK was formed to provide the disenfranchised Southerners with some way to strike back if they were being abused by Northerners or free blacks or that kind of thing. So it's a little more complicated. The second KKK, from my understanding, had absolutely nothing to do with the first one. There was just kind of a bunch of, like, LARPers who took the name and symbols. So I never really know what to do if it's more important to gain political power or to weaken the other parties. So, yeah. By the way, as I'm sitting here, I'm petting Rain. Rain is sitting next to me, and she is purring away. I have her bed here, so she's taking a snooze. A coalition ticket. In 1936, the 1936 election is looking to be one of the most contentious in American history. Many politicians within the upper circle of the Republican and Democratic parties fear that a victory by the Socialist or America First Party would mean the end of America and the American way of life. In order to avoid this, a plan has been proposed within the halls of power to form a coalition ticket between Republican and Democratic parties, with progressive Senator Floyd Olson of Minnesota as the presidential candidate. I'm going to go with a coalition if you can keep it. Black Monday hits America. So Black Monday is the equivalent of whatever it is Black Tuesday. Yeah, Rain's getting pretty big. Her tail's gotten really long and it's getting kind of fluffy, so I think you can see the Turkish Angora in her. The problem is she keeps me up at night. I've tried locking her in like a separate room, but she just meows really loud. Does Rain like the rain? Well, she didn't get upset when it was thundering and lightning the other day, so I guess she tolerates the rain. A lot of animals get upset over that sort of thing. Wait, aren't you going for Huey Long? Yeah, but I mean it's kind of difficult. So doing the Gardner Wagner bill and compromising with America First gave America First a lot of political power. From my understanding, how political power works is it determines which side the border states go to. So if America First has a lot of political power, you get North Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. So I have a plan on how we can get the Methno state. So as you guys know, the Supreme Court passed legislation giving half of Oklahoma to Native Americans. So what we do is we all claim Native American status, and then we launch a massive number of lawsuits to basically claim all of America as Indian territory. That's my goal. And then we move there and take it over, and that becomes the Methno state. Okay, good. So I get a event that increases stability and reduces the economic penalties. Now, as bad as that is, and there's some issues with that because that decreases I think that increases the strength of the federals, but more IC is important at the moment because it means I can build more factories in the South. Japanese troops garrison Tianjin. Who cares? Now, there is an alliance I plan to join. By the way, so do people want me to go down the long route or the Peely route once I win the war? I think there's also the business plot, but I don't really get how that works. So I'd say I'll either do the long route or the Peely route. The Peely route is really funny as far as things go. I kind of want to do a... Yeah, no, like, I'm only half joking. That would actually probably work. Everyone just pretending to be Native American. Father Coughlin. 3 years ago today, Father Charles Coughlin began a weekly radio broadcast in America and now has an audience of over 50 million people. He is a raving anti-Semite who claims the syndicalist revolution in France was fomented by the Jew. Is he wrong? And that the Berlin stock market crash is an international conspiracy of Jewish bankers, and somehow people still tune in. His hate speech will not be tolerated by the church, and the Pope is expected to make a decision on whether or not to ask the United States government to shut down the broadcast. Let base Coglin keep going. It's a nice purr. Rain, let's see if they can hear your purr. Can you guys hear her purr? Probably not. It's okay, girl. You tried. You did your best. Cuban tariffs. I don't really know or care. It's not important. So yeah, so passing these I think make the federals stronger, but it also will make America First stronger. I'm never really sure what I should be doing, because once Long becomes president, you have pass the relief bill or fight the syndicalists. I was kind of disappointed because I went to the grocery store today and I was going to see if they had any organ meat, because I last week I went and I got a bunch of chicken liver and I boiled that for Rain, and she went absolutely like ape shit on it and she just like devoured it. So I was hoping I could maybe get some chicken gizzard or something. Okay, improve capital gunnery. I'll do construction and synthetic oil. Okay, so let's speed this up a bit. How is the civilian factory production going? Pretty good. Okay, I'm going to switch over to military factories now. Once that finishes... Okay. Yeah, because I find, like, what happens with this is whenever I pick that option, the Federals often will win. So... whatever the meme route is, what's the one focus with segregation forever? That's Peely. Now, there is an alliance I intend to join. It might not be the one you expect, but I think particularly if Peely wins, it kind of makes sense. I'll see if anyone can guess it in the chat. Let's see who did the French elect. Orthodox syndicalism. I find it interesting. I think, let me see here. Social liberals, I think, are the Republicans. I'm not sure. No, it's not the Reichspakt. It's not the Reichspakt, and it's not the Entente. Yep, it is East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere. Yep, I'm going to join that, which is pretty fun, because that means you can basically just run roughshod over everybody. I don't... It really depends how Japan does, though. The thing I find really funny about Japan in Kaiserreich is it's basically exactly the same. Actually, you know what? I might just strengthen... Nah, it's a... No, I'm going to strengthen Japan if I'm going to join them. Japan... I'm going to give them the construction boost. Yeah, Japan is exactly the same in this mod as they are in canon. Like, sorry, in real world. Like all the focus trees are basically identical, and there's no syndicalist one. So I think it's pretty funny, to be honest. That one's funny because I think they're the only country that's exactly the same as what happened in real life. I think Spain is pretty close too. I think those are the two most similar to. I might be missing a country, but I guess South Africa is pretty similar. Yeah, I guess South Africa is the other country that's more or less the same. Brazil's fairly similar. Let's see here. I started. I haven't gone around to actually reading it because I've been reading so much stuff for school. Yeah, I've just been spending all my time reading like school stuff. But I started reading Georges Sorel's On Violence, which is a pretty interesting book actually. From my understanding, he was the founder of the third position. Okay, let's see. Reconciliation with Canada. I think I'm going to go with this. I think it makes it less likely that the Entente will intervene in civil war. Okay. Turn up the speed a bit. There's a level of cheese I'm not going to do, but one of the cheesy things people do is they will. Oh, there's not that many military factories, but they'll convert or destroy all the military factories in the north. America First Party. I might do a video on Sorel, I'm not sure. You're still in school? No, I'm doing grad school part-time. I finished my undergrad a long time ago. No, as I said, Guardian of the West, I'm doing grad school part-time. It's not like it's undergrad or high school or anything like that. Let's see here. Passive sonar and I guess catapult. One of the things the Japanese tried to develop during World War II was submarine aircraft carriers, which sounds like the worst idea I've ever heard. It didn't work out very well. It's not just that, but the amount of resources required was just too much. May Day riots, the police were at fault. Quentin Roosevelt. Does anyone ever actually use armored cars? I've never used them personally. I'm lazy, so I only ever use like 3 division. Or I have like a standard infantry division, a standard motorized division, a standard armored division, and like a standard garrison. I don't make different types of infantry divisions just because I'm lazy. So my favorite land doctrine tree is definitely mass assault. followed by superior firepower. If I'm playing a country with any amount of manpower, I normally do mass assault. If I'm playing a smaller country, I normally do superior firepower. I don't really see a point of mobile warfare or grand battle plan. Neither of them really seem particularly good. I don't know. Maybe in the chat people post which doctrine tree you tend to use. Okay, Terrafacts, the Hawking plan. Oh, I'm also gonna build some infrastructure in Tennessee. Oh, superior firepower got nerfed. Okay. The reason I like mass assault so much is a lot of the, particularly under, is this one or this one? Particularly under deep battle, a lot of them reduce supply consumption. And supply consumption reduction I just find really, really good in basically every circumstance. Because supplies are almost always a problem. So, yeah, I tend to like mass assault. Yeah, it depends what country I do. Because we're heading into the Civil War, I'm probably going to do mass assault. Just because I need as much manpower as possible. Let's see here. I'm trying to think what countries are good for superior firepower. A country like superior firepower I find works really well for a country like Germany or no, Russia's mass assault. I find like something like Germany or Japan or some country that, or even the United Kingdom, some country that has industry but doesn't have like a massive amount of population. I find as like Germany's superior firepower is really good because you can just build infantry armies with a lot of, because Germany has like no fuel, so you can just build infantry armies and just slap a bunch of artillery on them. I just don't find, let me look at it. I just never find the bonuses from mobile warfare to be that good compared to some of the other ones. I mean, I guess they're okay. I don't know. Superior firepower is also good for like, I don't know, like Bulgaria or that kind of thing. The other case I find where sorry, I'm saying a lot, where mass assault is good is if you're a very small country that doesn't have infantry, doesn't have industry, then you basically just have to throw bodies at them, and that lets you recruit more people. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, okay, oops. Okay, I need to switch over to doing fortifications now. I don't really want to do fortifications further east because I'm going to be pushing here really early on. So getting them up in this area, though, it will be very helpful. Fortifications are something I always kind of forget about. Okay, the new Industrial Act. Base in Iowa. I'm not going to finish that. I'll do War Department expansion instead. Let me see what other doctrines do I like. I normally do base strike for naval, and for air, I almost always do operational integrity, just because it's very flexible. And I'm lazy and I don't like to micromanage, and tactical bombers can do basically everything. So I find that's fine. Also, strategic bombers, you need like a lot of industry to build them. I think a president everyone's forgetting and just everybody forgets about him is Polk. I think there's a case to be made that Polk is like in the top 5 greatest presidents. Because if you keep in mind, because Polk was president during the Mexican-American War, so like basically a 40% of the country, it's probably like 40% of the country, I'd imagine, was conquered under Polk. Okay, so let's do a Huey Long speech. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party were just like the old patent medicine drummer that used to come around our county. He had 2 bottles of medicine. He'd play the banjo and he'd sell the 2 bottles of medicine. One of the bottles of medicine was called High Poplarum, and another of those bottles of medicine was called Low Poplarum. Finally, somebody around there said, "Is there any difference between the bottles of medicines?" He said, "Considerable. They're both good, but they're different. The high poplarum is made from the bark off the tree that we take from the top down, and the low one is made from the bark that we take from the root up." And that the only difference I found between the Democratic and Republican leadership was that one of them was skinning you from the ankle up and the other was skinning you from the ear down. Homey sayings do not win elections. Oh yeah, I'd put Andrew Johnson as being the other most underrated president. It's funny because Andrew Johnson is extremely reviled nowadays for attempting to stop the radical Republicans in punishing the South, but he did his best. Yeah. He did his best to stop the madness that was Reconstruction. Keep in mind that Lincoln was actually very moderate when it came to um, rebuilding. His goal was to get the country back together as soon as possible. He wasn't particularly interested in punishing the South. That kind of happened under Grant and after Lincoln died. Was the idea was not only to like rebuild the South, but to actively punish it for what was for its role in like to forcibly redistribute land. The approach of Lincoln was more we're all Americans again. Okay, we're heading to the election. Hopefully I can get some of the forts done in time. I'm not going to get enough of them done. Oh, well, it's better than nothing. At least I got some industry built and I got the infrastructure in Tennessee. The reason I did Tennessee is because the South doesn't really have any iron production outside of Tennessee. So, Yeah. No, Mexico looks like it's the junta took power. Let's see. Can I use national focuses yet? No, I can't use those. I guess I'll do U.S. Navy next. Well, here's how I view the Civil War. I don't know if I've ever really talked about how I view the Civil War. I think that the average Southerner thought they were fighting for states' rights and for independence from Northern oppression. And I think Northerners believed that they were fighting for basically that it was American nationalism, that they were fighting for the continued existence of the United States of America. I personally think the actual reason was that the Southern upper class didn't want to pay white people for jobs that slaves would do for free. And that was why they were so afraid of slavery being abolished, because they didn't want to pay white people. Because I think you could argue like that white Southerners had one of the worst deals of like anybody in the United States, because there was really no place for them. Okay, the election's going to happen soon. Okay, so I've done not bad with. Okay, I don't need to build forts on the border then if Cardens didn't win. I love Synarchism. Synarchism's such a LARPy name, but it's awesome. Yeah, Synarchist coup. Or coup, sorry. Do, 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 do. Even though I'm not a libertarian, I might actually put Calvin Coolidge pretty high because America did enjoy a period of unrivaled prosperity under him during the 20s. Even and he didn't screw it up. And I think there's something to be said for not micromanaging things and not screwing it up. So, from what I've read is I don't think really from what I've read, I don't think conscription was really that widely used during Civil War. From my understanding, conscription was more used as a tool to shame people into joining. It's funny though, because when I was reading about the Civil War, they talk about like the deprivation of the Confederate and Union soldiers, but Americans have always been better provisioned than pretty much anyone else during the time period or in human history. So even with the like Confederate troops, they were probably much better supplied and fed than most European armies at the time. I like Teddy Roosevelt. Uh, I guess you could say he was kind of like the American third positionist. Keep in mind, Teddy Roosevelt called Thomas Paine a filthy atheist. So, I mean, that kind of says what it needs to be said about Teddy Roosevelt. As I've said in the past, and I'll probably get crap for this, I do kind of consider myself a progressive, although it's illiberal progressivism. It's not liberal in any sense. So, like, I liked a lot of the modernization stuff that, like, Teddy did and some of the leaders from that time period did. So, we're going to go with Huey Long, American First. Teddy was also just a Chad in general. Like resigning as Secretary of the Navy to go fight in a war. Okay, SPA contest election results. Members of the Socialist Party of America have refused to accept the results of our free and fair election, claiming that the House of Representatives system has subverted the will of the majority. Jack Reed has said as much and called the whole of Congress reactionary for this injustice. Independent newspapers from inside the SPA have reported that the AFL are beginning to show cracks in their support, solidarity with Reed. Damn Reed. I can't invade Mexico yet. I'll invade Mexico once the Civil War's over. There's not really a point in doing it now. Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt got shot and it hit his eyeglass case. And he was like, he went up and gave the speech anyways. And he's like, I don't think you understand. I just got shot and I just don't give a shit. And that happened with Andrew Jackson too. Andrew Jackson, like, guy pulled two pistols, beating the shit out of him, like, with his bare hands. And they had to pull him off the guy because he was about to kill him. The one thing I will give a lot of shit to Teddy Roosevelt for is his lame attempt to win re-election led to win a third term meant that Woodrow Wilson became president. I'd say of like the worst presidents America's ever had, I'd say LBJ is by far the worst president America's ever had. Oh, I remember listening. Yeah, the Politically Incorrect Guide to American Presidents. Yeah, they have a that's the way they do it. I'd say the three worst presidents were sorry, I'm just LBJ by far, Jimmy Carter might be second, and then Woodrow Wilson. I'd put those in the top three, with LBJ being by far the worst president in American history. I can't really think of anyone else who like comes close. There's like no aspect of America he didn't screw up. Okay, the thing with James Buchanan and Franklin Pierce is I kind of feel at that point in time things were inevitable. So it didn't really, I don't know how much it mattered what they did as far as things went. So, but let's look at Johnson's record. Okay, we got the Civil Rights Act, which eliminated freedom of association, forced kids to like bus to the other side of town. We got the Great Society, which destroyed the black family. They started a war that destroyed the black family and the white family to a certain extent. He repealed the big... What was the thing he repealed again? Oh yeah, the Immigration Act. He let in, like, he completely changed the demographic character of the United States. If you look at like the black family before and after Johnson, he really screwed up the country. Oh, he was also the most, yeah, LBJ prior to Trump was the most pro-Israel president. I'd say the only president more pro-Israel than LBJ was Trump. It was kind of funny, though, because LBJ was like, near the end of his term, he got really pissed off. Because he's like, I've given Jews everything they could possibly want. Why are they still slagging me over Vietnam? Yeah, I give LBJ credit for just not giving a shit about anything. LBJ, I think, I'd also say he was probably the most corrupt man to ever hold the office of president. I do like Harry Truman though. I like Harry Truman. He seemed like an okay guy. I think he was like the last conservative Democrat. Jimmy Carter was a fucking disaster. Allowing the Panama Canal to slip out of America's fingers alone was bad, but I don't know. Everything he did was a shit show. I kind of just view Reagan as being a very mediocre president. My main reason for disliking him is because he had an immense amount of political capital to make like real revolutionary change, and he completely failed to use any of his political capital. And he gave us Anthony Kennedy, I think. I think that was Reagan. But yeah. I actually don't mind Lincoln. I don't. I don't know. He did guide America through the Civil War. I guess it depends on whether you think the Confederacy was right or not. Like, if you're pro North, he was the best president. If you're kind of on the fence, he was maybe the best president. If you prefer the South, he was the Antichrist. I kind of have mixed feelings about the Civil War. There's wars where I like both sides, and I like both sides of the Civil War. So I'm saying Truman's conservative in that he was anti-communist. I actually don't mind big government. So the country's social problems have forced the American people to turn to radical solutions. The two-party system has broken down, and Huey P. Long is to be sworn in as the 31st President of the United States, with William Lemke being sworn in as Vice President. In a stirring speech in Washington, D.C., Long has pledged to defend the interests of the people and to put the interests of the regular American above anyone else. However, the AFP's slim majority in Congress means that it may find it challenging to pass any meaningful legislation, especially in the Senate, where the SPA senators have promised to filibuster any law. I'm going to go with the relief bill, I think. Let's see here. One of Long's first acts was to provide relief for the farmers of America. Thus, this executive order directed the Secretary of Commerce. The order enforces price controls on farm products, provides credit to farmers. It provides tariffs on grains and other cereals. This will reverse the price slump that is driving farmers into poverty. Unwilling to wait to overcome the Senate filibuster and citing the violent conflict that is going on in America, Long passed the executive order bypassing Congress entirely. While farmers across the country rejoiced, many in the country denounced the executive order as a tyrannical act by the executive branch. So, an interesting perspective Serp had was, I don't think he was old enough to vote during the 2008 election, but he said if he could go back in time, he probably would have voted for Obama, knowing then what he knows today. Because he takes the perspective that John McCain was such a radical neocon that he would have started a nuclear war. So he preferred like the shit that was Obama's turn over, because McCain would have probably invaded Syria. They probably would have invaded Libya. They would have invaded Russia. Or they would have tried to start a war with Russia. Can you imagine the Crimea crisis happening while McCain was president? Okay, let's see here. Okay, I want to ask the chat, who's worse, George W. Bush II or Obama? Or are they even distinguishable is a good question. Like, is there, who is worse out of the two? Because on the surface they're kind of like the exact same thing. They both massively increased the deficit. They both started a whole bunch of foreign wars America couldn't afford. I guess the thing you can say for Bush is that, yeah, someone's saying George Bush the second. Okay, so let's read this. By virtue of the authority vested in me, I, Huey Pierce Long, President of the United States of America, do declare the intrinsic right of the poor to have relief. A new government agency will be created to meet out the basic needs of every American, so that our nation's great wealth is felt not only in the upper echelons of power, but also in the lowest hovel. Also included with the executive order is a wide array of tax increases on the wealthiest Americans. While incredibly popular with the AFP's base, and hardly unexpected considering Long share the wealth slogan, many Americans are protesting what appears to be a massive overstep of the executive power of the president. The constitutionality of increasing taxes by fiat and how this new agency would even manage to operate are questions that has thrown the government into immediate chaos and confusion. Long has already begun campaigning hard, using press releases to rail against the corporate order, which would see America fall to syndicalist rhetoric. Now, to be honest, with regards to Huey Long share the wealth, from my understanding, I do think I don't really support his economic policies. I think they were excessively centrally planned. I think they probably would have been disastrous for the American economy. So, because didn't he want to implement like 100% tax rate on income over a certain amount? Because you do need super rich people to finance like capital projects like factories and research and that sort of thing. Okay, let's see here. In a highly publicized court case, Chief Justice Charles Evan Hughes has declared executive order is unconstitutional. This was a narrow court case. This was a narrow court case and was split 5-4 against the president. Doesn't this sound familiar? Literally the same shit that happened in the modern times. You know what's funny? When the Supreme Court of Argentina tried to shut down Juan Perón's bills, he just had the Argentine Congress, which was controlled by the Peronist Party, to just impeach the Supreme Court and appoint new ones. Let's see here. I actually think I actually am against Supreme Courts. I think democracy is substantially better than critarchy. Because if you look at, like, gay marriage in almost every country was passed by Supreme Court. It's very rare that the legislative branch or it was passed in referendum. I mean, if you look at all the states who have like passed constitutional amendments banning it, compared to the Supreme Court just declaring shit. Like, the Supreme Court is also, we'll get into that in a minute. The decision by the Supreme Court to declare his executive order unconstitutional has made Long take an extra legal solution. Citing Lincoln's court packing during the Civil War as precedent, Long has asked the Senate Majority Leader to remove the filibuster for judicial appointees and has increased the size of the Supreme Court to 15. It is clear that Long intends to appoint 6 pro-AFP justices to the bench that shall ensure that his executive orders will be constitutional. This has provoked a firestorm of protest throughout the country, even from members of the Congress that have so far remained neutral or supported Long. I don't know. I think it's pretty base, to be honest. Yeah, Ireland is the only one. Bermuda actually voted to repeal gay marriage in a referendum, and the Supreme Court of Bermuda struck it down. Colombia had a constitutional ban on it, but and I think it was like 70 to 80% of the population was against it, but it was forced on them The death penalty is another thing. I think in Canada, even the death penalty is favored by a majority of the population, but I think it was outlawed by judicial fiat. This is an amazing reference. My allegiance was the Republic, MacArthur, to democracy. Long support in DC has finally bottomed out. Douglas MacArthur marched into DC today to restore order, having declared Long to be a tyrant and attempted to arrest him at the White House. MacArthur's marchers reminded many in DC of Cox's army of 1932, except these men, having been tipped off by the AFP informants and MacArthur's command staff, Long was able to stay ahead of the traitors general and has escaped to New Orleans. MacArthur has chosen to inhabit the White House and coordinate an investigation into Long from the executive chair. Civil war is imminent. I actually like Douglas MacArthur quite a bit. Well, that's the reason why Bermuda voted against it. So, black people generally don't like that sort of thing. Okay, stand by the country. Okay, so let's see here. All right, what do I have to work with? Immediately we have to start recruiting militias. I'm going to put on the faster build. Let's see, what do I have to work with? Okay, so I will make I'm trying to think, who should I make? I'll make George Van Horn Mosley my commander-in-chief. Okay, so we will set up a front there, a front there, a front here, and a front there in the far east. There's a guy I know who has a very good explanation of why Ireland turned out the way it did. I don't remember enough to give it, but basically its entire upper class was completely destroyed during the time it was a British colony, and that was kind of what he attributes it falling into total pause was. Okay, let's see here. Right. Maybe I'll just keep my reserves for the moment. Didn't Patton think he was the reincarnation of Hannibal, which is LARPy but also based? Okay. Switch to partial mobilization. I'm gonna... Oh, okay, I can't implement that yet. Let's see. I don't really have access to many... I do have Colt, though, which is pretty cool. Colt's actually a pretty decent one. We're going to switch to limited exports. Okay, I'll get events for Chief of Staff soon. Okay. So, if I remember how to do this properly, 100% of military production is going to small arms, at least initially. Let's see here. Let me just see if my fortification line is good. Okay, yep, fortification line's fine. I don't really need it in the east at the moment, at least. Okay. Oh, the Catalans are the worst. Catalonia is where the Spanish anarchists were based. Not even like the Republicans, but like the anarchists. the thing, one of the things you have to keep in mind is communists, like Marxist Leninists, actually hate anarchists more than they hate capitalists. And the Marxist Leninists really, really hated the anarchists. Okay, just research. Oh. So I want mass assault. I'll take radio. I actually don't really know what reinforced rate even does, but I'm sure it's based. I want to take that as well. And we'll do... I can't really do improved infantry equipment yet, so I'll just do some construction tech, maybe. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to do an intelligence agency, I think. What types of music do I listen to? Power metal. Power metal, like trance, and a lot of soundtrack music. Soundtrack music, like from stuff like Persona, or like from anime, or like from movies, that kind of thing. I'd actually put pretty high on the list of stuff that I listen to. Okay, here we go. We're getting some more soldiers. Okay, so we'll do that. Sightseeing. It's always really hard to know where to allocate men to this early in the war. I can't recruit any divisions yet. I just don't have the manpower for it. I don't have the IC to build more motor vehicles, but it'll be useful in this particular context. So let's see here. They can go there. So the main thrust will be up to Washington, and in center it's going to be towards Frankfurt. If I can take Kentucky, I'll be in pretty good shape. Oh yeah, sorry, I got distracted. So Catalonia was also by far the worst part in Spain for the Red Terror. When the it was the worst part of the Spain for the Red Terror. I think a majority of the clergy in Spain got massacred. Like, one of the things the anarchists would do is they'd walk from house to house and look inside, and if people were praying at an altar, they'd throw grenades in. They were really shitty. Just do that. Let's see here. Federal control maintained in Minnesota. Interesting. Oh crap, it looks like the Federals are doing really well. That's worrying. That is very worrying. Oh, North Carolina didn't join me. That kind of sucks. North Carolina often joins Huey Long. Okay, I'll have some more divisions. Oh, okay, I got Tennessee. That's nice. Always good to have more territory. Although Tennessee kind of gives me this salient I'm going to have to take. Second Declaration of Independence. I just need enough forces here to put one in each. Did I assign those to the wrong area? Okay. I don't know. I must have not been paying attention when I did that. But yeah, I don't really see any reason to... Okay, that's good, actually, that they took New York. Because I don't really see any reason to push into the Midwest. Because there's no resources here, and there's no major population centers. So it's kind of pointless. Okay. And Chief of Staff, I'm going to go with Habward. Actually, no, Mosley. Okay. And okay. All right. And we have some additional troops showing up. Federal revolt fails in Texas. Good. That would have been another front. I have enough fronts to deal with at the moment as is. Okay. Okay, so for those of you who have more experience, am I doing like really bad troop positions or something? Because I feel like maybe my troop positions are pretty bad. I don't know. I'm only going to push in this area. There's not really a reason to push in the Midwest. I have the border pretty well fortified there. So, Chief of Army. I want... reduce supply consumption. Okay. Right. Oh, do a second one. Alabama. Yeah, but trying to push into the southeast is a nightmare, because this is all just mountains. And once again, there's nothing in New Mexico or Arizona. I'll do Charles Lindbergh, because Charles Lindbergh is based. Okay. Send one more over there. Okay, so I have enough troops here to cover this part. If I put 2 more, I'll have enough to cover there. And I'll put the rest into the Midwest. Okay. What are people saying in the chat? Yeah, my motorized are here. And they're going to be pushing to Washington. Okay, let's see here. Good, military intelligence. We're going to start cryptology. Here we go. Second American Civil War started. All right. Okay, let's see how this goes. I need to grab as much territory as possible as quickly as possible. It is very tempting to push here, but like I said, let's look at the resources. I don't think there's even any resources there. Oh, okay, national focus. I'm going to go with Mosley. Chief of Navy. Doesn't matter, I don't have a Navy. Well, actually, I do have a decent-sized Navy. What am I talking about? The Choco Brigade arrives. The Chocobo Brigade. Okay, and I might as well use... If I have a navy, I might as well use it. Oh, okay. Wow. It looks like this is working out pretty good. Oops. Fuck. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, and I'll funnel the remaining troops to the east. Once again, I just have to grab as much territory as possible in the opening scramble. Are resources always the same? I believe they are. Although I have a mod that lets me prospect for resources. Now the question is, I don't really want to go past Kentucky. Because... Is this the Potomac, or what's the river there? I don't think it's the Mississippi. Oh, thanks, Carl. I appreciate it. Oh, wait, did I boomer it up so the chat box isn't on screen? Oh, oops. There we go. My bad. Lindbergh appeals to Long. Yep, I'm going to go with that. I need more of that, more industry. Okay. I'm getting bogged down here, but taking out 2 American infantry divisions is really helpful. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Oh, Ohio River. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Oh, right, I do have some aircraft. Let me see where my aircraft located. Let's see here. You can do southeast, and you can do Appalachia. Close air support. Tactical bomber. Okay, I'll move my tactical bombers over to there. And close air support can help out there. Yeah, maybe I'll try micromanaging a bit. Wow. That is a major bog down. But I took out 2 U.S. infantry divisions, so that's good. Interesting. New England didn't secede this time. I don't really know what determines whether or not New England secedes. I like the Dankest Hour mod where you get H.P. Lovecraft. And you get National Populist New England, which is pretty cool. Let's look at how it's going. So I have 50 infantry divisions. Both the Federalists and the Syndicalists, I think, might actually have larger armies than me, but I'm grabbing quite a bit of territory. You know what? Maybe I'll just make a beeline for Chicago. It doesn't look like the CSA has anything stopping me. No, I'm not a big fan of multiplayer in general. It's just a pain to get set up, and then you have to deal with, like, people play the game at different speeds and stuff like that. I don't know. It just doesn't really appeal to me. Wow. No, I don't do competitive. I don't like competing. It's something I've never liked competing since I was very young. So, the only game I played semi-competitively was World in Conflict, which I was actually really good at. Not to toot my own horn, but yeah. No, keep in mind I'm really, really bad at video games. I think I'm worse than Serp. Or it's close. It's close which one of us is bad. I think we're bad in different ways. I couldn't really explain what the ways were, though. Oh, right, I can start decrypting. What am I doing? USA and CSA. Okay. What's funny is the, what is it called again? If the CSA wins, they can form the USSA, the United Syndicalist States of America, which I find really funny. I love how part of their focus tree is socialism with American characteristics, which is also really funny. There's a lot of good memes in this. Let's see here. Where's socialism with American characteristics? I'm not sure. Maybe they moved it somewhere, and I'm not really sure where it is. But Purge Reactionaries, Union of Socialist American States. Create the CSB. Good syndicalist soldier. The single worst thing the developers took out was the Mongolia focus tree. I agree they had to take AOG out because AOG was overpowered, and it would just make Germany win every war solely through them. Oh, what the economic focuses. Let's see, Commonwealth of America, power to the people. I don't know. I don't see it. I might just be retarded. That's very possible. Maybe they took it out. I don't know. They probably did. Transformative justice. Here's the question for you guys. Should I just take the rest of Kentucky and then stop? So I feel like my offensive is going to run out of steam at some point, and it might be better to not push my luck. I don't know, whatever. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I'm going to finish Kentucky and then we're going to stop the offensive. Oops. Oh, okay, I have to pick another one. I'll take logistics management, I think, for my next focus. Okay, Hemingway speech, who cares about that? Okay. Those guys can go west. Go east, I mean. Okay. Alright, so we will stop the offensive there. I just like to take Louisville so I can control all of Kentucky and all of this side of the Ohio. Also, there. Oh wow, I have to... Okay. I completely forgot at changing this. I'll go to service by requirement. I don't think I need to go to total economic mobilization yet. I like to put that on... Oh, no, sorry. Service by requirement. Sorry, all adults serve. Because the penalties to production are just so steep from that. Okay. Oh, okay, I need to do that. War Powers Committee. Okay, there we go. Industry is... the private sector is giving me some more production. Okay, it seems like things are actually going pretty good this time. The Silver Legion, you can go there. Okay, I'm gonna have to start garrisoning my coast because I've lost of the the 4 times I've tried this. I always lose because of a because of the... Wow, I am not articulate today. Because of land invasions, naval invasions. Let's see. I don't know. I think Gen Xers are the worst. I think Gen Xers are worse than Zoomers, like substantially worse than Zoomers. Okay, I think I've gotten bogged down on the Eastern Front as well. So I'm going to stop my offensive along the Ohio. I don't know. What do you guys think I should do now? My intuition is I have a pretty big advantage, at least I think I do, in terms of military factories. So my intuition is to consolidate what I have and just keep building more factories and gear up for a big offensive in the west. I mean, in the East Coast. Knock out the Federals? I kind of don't want to knock out the Federals right away. Because they are causing the syndicalists some issue. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to halt for a little bit to get my planning a bonus up. And then I'm going to launch a more strong attack. Okay, start officer plan. Yeah, I will launch my attack in a day or so. I just want to get my planning bonus up to maximum. Okay, I'll launch it tomorrow. Okay, there we go. Max planning attack. Okay, I got mass assault. Pocket defenses next. Oh, right. My borders along the river go both ways. Oops. Let's see. Okay. He isn't quite there for infantry leader yet. Okay, good. Infantry expert. Wow, this is a this is kind of devolved into a shit show. So I think I'm going to expand my fortification line into the territory I conquered in Kentucky. I don't think realistically the CSA will be able to push past that. Because it's fortifications across a river. Sometimes I've won this just because this CSA is really stupid and will just throw themselves at it. I'm going to go with industrial contacts. Okay. Wow, the Eastern Front is going really bad. Let's see, the Federal Rebels. I am a millennial, if you're wondering what generation I am. Let's see here. Don't really have a manpower problem at the moment. Oh, I forgot to do something. Okay, so something I normally do is reduce the size of the infantry divisions. So that should give me... Yeah, okay, there we go. My infantry equipment shortage is basically resolved. Oh, Integralist Brazil is at war with Republican Brazil. Interesting. Okay, let's see here. All right. And... is there any way to tell when the Entente is going to intervene? I mean, if the Entente is going to intervene, is there any way to know when that's actually going to happen? Or is that something that is decided later on? Loyalists rise in Pennsylvania. Okay, well that helps out a bit. Okay, I actually have an infantry equipment surplus now, so that's good. All right. Oh, I completely forgot what I was going to do. Okay, so I think where did I put my aircraft? There we go. So I want to put you guys on naval strike and attack the coast. Actually, what I want is for them to attack the eastern seaboard, but I don't have any air bases there yet. Okay, this is going nowhere, so I'm going to stop for a day or two and let my troops re-equip themselves. Because I actually have enough to resupply everybody now. Let's see here. I hate how you can't change special templates. I don't know, I just think it's kind of stupid. Like, I don't get why that's a thing. Okay. Oh boy, Germany, you're giving me one artillery cannon a month. That's amazing, Germany. Thank you for that. That's definitely going to win me the Second Civil War. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do that. Push on the Federalist front. Okay, there we go. That was the right decision to make. Oh, Rain's still next to me. She's curled up into a little ball. Hey there, girl. Seriously though, anytime somebody calls themselves a fur daddy or a fur mommy, it's like the cringiest shit I can think of. Or they call your cat your fur baby. It's just... it's hard for me to think of something cringier than that. Oh, wow. Okay, I got lucky. I sank the entire of the SPA's fleet. Excellent. That was a really good battle. Oh, okay. Alright, some more units spawned. And I don't know. I don't really use the new supply system. I'm going to be honest. The only time I really use the new intelligence system, I just find a lot of this shit just requires too much micromanagement. So, an exploit I like to do in Hearts of Iron 3 was to as Germany put all of my um, spies into increased threat against the United Kingdom, which would make the UK be the most threatening country in the world. And that would often make it difficult for America to join. America would often not join the Allies because of that. So. I will write a cringy song for Rain at some point. I've just been too lazy. Like, and who are you? The kitty said. Some variant of the Rains of Castamere. Well, Rain is, as I've said, is the founder and lady commander of Argent Sweetie Squad. Yeah, you're right. I'm surprised they even let you play as Germany. I'm sure they'll eventually remove the ability for you to play as Germany in these games. Oh, I can actually start recruiting normal units now. Okay, cool. Uh, I have enough production to do that. NKVD. Yeah, but the K stands for kitty. Wow, this is... That is a shit show if I've ever seen one. Reverse war plan. Right. White. I'll invade Mexico at some point in time. Oh yeah, so someone's asking about anime. I've started to read some light novels actually. So I'd always like wondered about them, and some people have done fan translations of them into English. And just a lot of animes I really like Chivalry of a Failed Knight and like Excel World and things like that, are are all light novel series, but they've only made like one season of the anime. And if I want to watch get through more of the story, I'm gonna have to do that. There's also something I like a lot about reading something as opposed to watching it, because you get the character's internal monologue and it's just kind of more objective. Like you know pretty much exactly what people are saying. The meta was I should have pushed on the East Coast right away. Well, it didn't go that bad. People keep asking for the Red Dead. I'll do it at some point. It's just, I don't know. I have a lot of stuff to do. Wow, this is... I kind of feel I should just give up on this front and just move to the Midwest, because this is going absolutely nowhere. I think I'm going to do that. I think we're going to have a major change in plan. I'm going to take half of these and move them to the Midwest. And we're just going to surge forward up to there. What's Ubisoft Forward? I have no idea what Ubisoft Forward is. Maybe if someone could explain what it is in the chat. Oh, okay. I'm gonna... Yeah, the Eastern Offensive was going nowhere. Okay, find where the CSA's weakest units are. I mean, the whole front is pretty weak. I'm tempted to just do a rush for Chicago. The problem is, if I wipe out the CSA too quickly, the Federals are going to win. I don't know, at this point in time, it's a pretty even balance between the three of us. So, let's see, who's taken the most casualties so far? Well, the CSA has taken, like, no casualties. Okay. Right. We'll abandon that because we're not going to fortify in Kentucky. This is going to become a war of movement once more. Alright. Police crackdown. Okay, that's a good one. Okay. No, they aren't going to revive the Prince of Persia series because that was, like, good. And making good stuff is not, like, a high priority for Ubisoft. Making, like, pause stuff that no one wants to play is Ubisoft's #1 priority. Ubisoft is, like, a good example of a company that doesn't care about making money. The same is true of what BioWare wound up becoming after EA Games bought it. Puerto Rico is national populist? What the fuck? What the hell is this? That's amazing. Far Cry 5 wasn't bad. I thought it was nowhere near as good as Far Cry 4 or 3, but it wasn't bad by any means. Okay, something I hate about the AI, the theater AI, is they will not maintain a combat line. Like, they just won't. They won't fill in the gaps. They just kind of keep moving troops around in, like, an arbitrary fashion. Okay. It's not as bad as HOI 4. HOI 3. HOI 3 had the single worst AI I think I've ever seen in, like, any video game, as far as how bad it was. Okay, force attack, and just surge forward. We just need to break through in, like, one location for this offensive to be a success. Okay, it looks like we're going to be able to cross the river there. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time is probably one of my favorite games of all time. I didn't like Warrior Within. I thought Warrior Within was, like, complete shit. Or not shit, sorry. No, it wasn't bad. It was just very, like, try hard edgy. I never played Twin Sands or whatever. I don't even remember what it was called. Twin Thrones? I mean, the best part of it was, like, Monica Bellucci being in it. That was, I think, the highlight of the series. I tried the reboot, and I didn't really like the reboot much, to be honest. There we go. We've crossed the Ohio. And into the Midwest. I don't like the art style of 2018 either. Um, yeah. I just wasn't a big 2018 fan. 2008. I'm personally against Puerto Rico joining because Puerto Rico would just mean two more Democratic senators and a bunch more Democrats in the House of Representatives, and it would just yeah, it's bad. HOI 3 was such a clusterfuck. Like Paradox really didn't care when they made HOI 3. You know what HOI 3 was? HOI 3 was like D&D 4th edition. Nobody liked D&D 4th edition, so they just made oh, okay, that's interesting. That's a pretty big salient there. Okay. Oh, of course I broke through. I think the AI cheats with movement speed. I maintain that for a long time. I think the AI gets like an unseen bonus to movement speed because they always seem to move a lot faster than I do, even on my own territory. Oh, fuck. Okay, I might have lost. I'm not going to be able to get out of that pocket. Oh, there we go. Okay, quid. Good. Okay, if you guys can just get there, then I can pull out of this pocket and things will work out, sort of. Maybe. Kind of. If I had to pick what the new console is, I have a Switch, so I guess that's like the hot new console I have. I'd probably pick the PS5 because PS5 will probably get Persona 6 whenever Persona 6 comes out. I'm just gonna reload because I basically lost at this point. Unless yeah. Okay, let's see here. I'm just gonna do a fallback line. Okay. Well, also most Xbox games come out for PC, anyways. As I said, I actually purchased a PS3, even though it's like way out of date now, because I wanted to play Persona 5 and I wanted to play Demon Souls and Infamous. There was a couple games I really wanted to play that were only on PS3. I mean, I guess Persona 5 is on PS4, but I don't know. That was like $200 or $300 more than getting a PS3. So, although PS3s are still pretty expensive. Let the salient advance. I mean, I could do that. That's one thing I could do at this point in time. I don't know. This seems like it's going nowhere. The river's just too hard to cross. I'm just a big Persona fanboy, so getting to play Persona 4. Oh, wait a minute. I can take St. Louis. Cool. What the hell? I was pretty sure that the fallback line included that far south. I guess not, though. I hate when it gets stuck on like 99% for like a month. Okay, here we go. All right, we've got this. We've got this by the ass. Okay, the Syndicate Rebels. I played Persona 3 on emulator. I couldn't find a working Persona 4 emulator, so no, sorry, a working Persona 5 emulator for PS3. So I played both Persona 4 and Persona 3 on emulator, which are two of the all-time greatest games of all in the world, in my opinion. Am I the only person who thinks Persona 4 was much, much better than Persona 3? I feel like the default opinion is people tend to like Persona 3 more than 4. I'm not really sure what the reason for that is. Like, I don't understand it. Why is it the AI refuses to, like, make a line? Like, I don't get it. Why will it not cover the area I tell it to cover? Like, why does it find this so difficult to do? Remember how they said that SMT5 was going to come out for Switch and then it never came out? Yeah, I remember that. I hate what's the game I really hate? Okay, guys, who's best girl in Persona 5? I'm going to bring that question up. Who do you think is best girl in Persona 5? I'm actually going to say Makoto. I liked Makoto a lot. I liked Futaba a lot too, but Futaba's more like sister than GF, in my opinion. Wow. Okay, that was the shit. So that resolved absolutely nothing. I'm gonna reload again because the AI completely fucked me on the East Coast. I don't know if there's like anything I can do unless I like manually move my divisions into a defensive line. Because it seems like the computer is actually incapable of. A lot of people like Psy for some reason. I don't really get why anyone likes Psy. I guess Psy's kind of hot, but she's just kind of a bitch. I guess it's just that she's hot. That's probably the only reason anybody likes Psy. I really disliked her though. I thought she was really bland. I thought SMT4 was really really bad. I beat it. I can't believe I finished SMT4. SMT4 was just, I don't know what was so bad about it. It was just really boring. There was so much grinding in it. It I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do for like 90% of the game. It was like the ultimate where the fuck do I go game. I think I used a guide for it. I normally use a guide when I play SMT games just because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But I like Persona more just because I suck at video games. So, like, I found Strange Journey unplayably hard on DS. On 3DS, I gave it and bought the DLC, and it made the game, like, too easy. Um, Strange Journey, though, might be the most unnecessarily long game I've ever played. Someone asked me, do I like Devil Survivor? I have actually a big poster of Devil Survivor 2 up on my wall. Like a huge one. Devil Survivor 2 is, outside of Persona 3 and 4, by far my favorite SMT game. I love Devil Survivor 2. I wish they'd make Devil Survivor 3 for like the Switch or something. Let me see, what posters do I have up on my walls? I have Soul of Cinder, The Matrix 1, A Map of Westeros, Wally, GoldenEye, Blade Runner 2049, my Crucifix, my painting of Mary, Stalker Clear Sky, Berserk, some Zelda ones, and a couple Fire Emblem ones. The Syndicate Rebels. No, I haven't played SMT4 Apocalypse, nor will I. I'm not gonna sit through like a 50-hour game again just for some bonus content. So when I played Strange Journey on what was it called again? Oh yeah, DS. I got to Ouroboros, and then I just rage quit on Ouroboros because he kept hitting me with petrification and wiping my. Because you insta lose the game if you get hit with petrification, which is really fucking stupid. But yeah, that kept happening, so I just rage quit. And then when I got it for 3DS, I just board quit it because there's so much just grinding and dungeon rushing. It just kind of goes on forever. I was not a big fan of Strange Journey. I mean, there's a lot of good things about Strange Journey, like the setting's interesting. Zelinin is like best girl. Stuff like that. But I don't know. I just found it. I board quit it. It was just taking way too long to get through. And it's like in Persona, is like really, really long. Like Persona is super long, but there's all kinds of like stuff to do. Like there's not just dungeons, you can go have like conversations with characters, there's like side jobs. There's all this other kind of stuff. Whereas like Strange Journey has nothing other than like brief cutscenes and like hours of just going through the same dungeon over and over again. So I was over leveled because I bought the DLC that lets you um, turbo level, which admittedly is my fault for getting that, but it just made the game like too easy. Even with that, it was still just taking way too long. I've never played a Final Fantasy game, nor will I ever. Uh, I think I played Tactics and I didn't like Tactics, and I tried Tactics and I tried I think 10 for like 20 minutes and I just hated it. I don't know what it is. I just hate I think pretty much everything Square Enix has made. I'm trying to think if there's a single thing. Let me bring up a list of Square Enix games. I think I've hated all of them. Okay, release date. Okay, let's see. Let's go through this list. I don't know what Outriders is. Star Ocean I hated when I tried to play it. It was long, boring, and nothing happened. Oh, they're the ones who fucked up Tropico 6? Oh, okay, well that makes sense. Kingdom Hearts. I guess Kingdom Hearts is like the only... Okay, they're the ones who fucked up Just Cause 4. They made The Last Remnant, that piece of crap. Life is... Okay, they're responsible for Life is Strange 2. The World Ends With You I thought was horrible. Well, I guess some of the, like, decent games that they made were not made by them. Like, Shadow of the Tomb Raider was really good, but it was only published by Square Enix. They didn't actually make it. I don't know. Can I blame them for Nier Automata? That's a question. I'm going to. Nier Automata is one of the worst video games I've ever played. If I had to give Nier Automata a score out of 10, I would give Nier Automata a 0 out of 10. It's actually hard for me to think of a worse video game than Nier Automata. And I somehow finished it. I think what happened was I just got so pissed off playing Nier Automata, I just switched it on to auto mode and just ran through the game. Because I had spent the money to buy it because everyone told me it was like the greatest video game of all time. And I fucking hated Nier Automata. Like, words can't describe how much I hated Nier Automata. Like, it was just, it didn't make any sense. Like, let me think, what are some aspects of it that made no fucking sense? Like you had that machine gun pod, and you had to hold down the button, and you had, like, this big world, and there was nothing in it, and the story was bullshit. I couldn't even pay attention to the story. It was so bad. And the leveling system sucked. And you had all this... It's a game I can think of nothing good to say about it. The people who try to tell me it's good just say that they think 2B is hot. And that's pretty much the only argument I've heard for Nier Automata being a good game. I've never really heard any argument other than that. I might be the only person who hated Nier Automata. Okay. National Guard divisions. I'm going to have to just start spamming. I don't know. I think I've lost this, to be honest. It doesn't look like I can hold the East Coast. I'm just going to get driven into the sea. Like, realistically, unless I start just cheating. Like, I'm gonna just start cheating. Because fuck this. Okay. Fuck you guys for wanting me to play as the American Union State. The worst faction to play as in the well, the worst actual faction. I'm not counting Hawaii or Puerto Rico, but you just have overwhelming disadvantages. I'm just giving myself infantry equipment because I don't really care anymore. Okay. I haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm kind of curious. Is it any good? It kind of looked a little bit like I'm not gonna go like crazy with cheating. I just gave myself some infantry equipment. I'll see if that's enough to stabilize the front. Like when I cheat, I prefer to like win legitimately, if that makes sense. Um, I don't know. Are they just not fighting each other? Like, is that what the issue is here? I know Nier Automata is like one of Fritz Imperial's favorite games, but I think political power is a bullshit mechanic. I kind of feel it shouldn't be in the game. You might want to cheat harder. I don't really want to though. Like I just don't know how I'm like supposed to even do this. To be perfectly honest, like how I'm even supposed to win. I feel like the Federals have just thrown everything against me. Um and that's about it. I also feel like my divisions are just underperforming for some reason. I don't really know why. Okay. So I think what's going to happen is even if I have numerical advantage, the lines are just going to keep moving around and not actually defending, and I'm just going to lose. Yeah, but I don't like micromanaging, and I suck at it, and I don't want to play a grand strategy game and micromanage. I don't. Are they just not fighting each other? Like, is that's what's going on? Okay, I'm curious. I'm gonna look at how much the AI is cheating, And you can say I'm a failure at this, and I'm not very good at HO. I'm not going to pretend I'm good at it. Although, to be fair, this is a really, really hard thing to do. Okay. So let's see what the USA has. So the USA only has extensive conscription, and it has 2 million manpower. How does it have that much manpower? I also don't think the AI can run out of. Yeah, they aren't really fighting each other like at all. Um, over here. Um, I'm playing Last of Us 1 and I think it's garbage. Well, no, sorry, it's not garbage. It's just very, very mediocre. Yeah, I find the AI isn't affected by equipment shortages. So let's see, are all these units at 100%? Yep, they're all at 100% strength despite there being massive equipment shortages. Tag, CSA. Tag. I wouldn't say The Last of Us 1 was bad. Uh, let's see here. Like, I get people beat the game. Like, I get people win regardless of the AI cheating. But, like, let's look at this again. Like, this is supposed to be an attrition war. The CSA, okay, the CSA isn't actually down that much. But all their divisions are at basically 100. Let me see if any of them are not at 100%. Okay, there's. No, I don't think any of them are at less than 100%. No, all their divisions are at 100% strength. Let me go back to the USA. Okay, so yeah, negative 29,000. How much are they producing a day? Like, nothing. Okay, so let me look at this. Okay, there's a couple that are at like 90% strength. I'll probably go till 5 and then we'll continue this some other time just because I have to get back to doing homework. Which I was supposed to be doing today instead of streaming this, but... Okay, I'm just going to cheat to get myself manpower. Because I have the same core population as the AI. But, whatever. I don't know, like, I find a lot of the Paradox fanboys are like, oh, you can win by exploiting, like, bugs in the AI. And it's just like, yeah, but does that make it, like, a good game? Um, like, is that, like, a good quality, like, strategy game if if the main way you win is to exploit like to cheese the game in that like you figure out problem with the AI. Like to me, the whole point of the American Civil War is it's supposed to be attritional warfare. Like it's supposed to be who runs out of equipment first. who has the most production, who has the most manpower. And the AI just doesn't. So I think I'm just going to leave it here. And I might continue this, I might not. But I think that's probably good for today. So thank you for everybody who came out to watch me horrifically fail at this. But yeah.